What's going on, everybody? You guessed it, man. It's your boy Trey Sense here, and we got a little bit of a review today, a little bit of a discussion, a lot of a discussion. Before we get into that, though, I need something from you. Of course, the usual. I need you to like, share, and if you haven't, sub to the channel. Let's get your boy to at least 5,500 subs. I don't even know where I'm at. Maybe around 5,300. So let's get that sub count up. Okay. Oh, and continue to check in and let me know where you're watching from. Let me straighten myself up just a little bit there. Disclaimer. Let me get this out of the way. This is my channel. So everything that I talk about on this channel is 100% solely my opinion. About 98% of the fragrances that I have, I bought and paid for. There are some fragrances that were gifted to me. There are some that were sent to me. Most I have bought and paid for. Okay, getting that out of the way. What we're going to talk about is designer versus niche versus clone house versus independent, because I feel like those are the four main categories that every fragrance falls under. Now, with saying that, are there some designer fragrances that are every bit 100% as good as niche? Yes. Yes. With saying that, are there some niche fragrances that are 100% every bit as common as designer? Yes. So I'm going to give you some of my favorite, I'm going to give you some of my suggestions on what are still really niche fragrances and so forth and so on. I'm going to give you some examples of some designer fragrances that I think are niche quality. Since that was the last statement made, let's talk about it. From the house of Tom Ford, Oud Mineral. Tom Ford is the complete definition of designer. I don't care what price tag you put on there, what fancy name you put on there. If it's made by Tom Ford, it's designer, guys. It's designer. Now, if Tom Ford were to start a complete another fragrance company that had nothing to do with Tom Ford and it didn't have the Tom Ford name, and it was a weird style of fragrance like zoology, then that would be niche. But as unique as Oud Mineral is, and as much as I love this fragrance, it's still a designer fragrance. Is it the run of the mill? No. Is this a fragrance that everybody's gonna love? No. 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 Is it a fragrance that I love from the first time I smelled it? And I thought, that's different. That's different. What you have is a lot of oud and a lot of mineral, sort of a petroleum type of vibe. It smells like you got a little gasoline on your hands. It's different. It's different, but it's still designer. It's still designer. Another one that's a great definition of designer, but niche quality. Ralph Club Elixir. The definition of designer is Ralph Lauren. It's Polo. That's been designer for years. Don't get no more designer than Polo. It doesn't get no more designer than Ralph Lauren. That is the definition of designer. I think they make everything fashion from the rooter to the tutor. Whole pig, baby. Whole pig. But yet this fragrance is of niche quality. It stands out. It's different. It's well made. Reminds me a lot of Sauvage Elixir. You know, not a one-to-one clone, but I feel like that's the ballpark they were going in, but different. But yet, no matter how you dress this pig up, it's still a designer fragrance. And that's just that. That's what it is. Is it a good one? Yes. Do I think you should get it in your collection? Yes. Yes. Now, I'm going to give you a couple examples of fragrances that I feel are niche fragrances. Got to put the eyes down so I can see. From the house of Amouage, it is Moroccan-Man. The entire house of Amouage is a niche house. Why do I feel like this is a niche house through and through? For one, if I wear this to work and somebody goes, man, Trey, you smell really good. What do you have on? And I say, I have on Moroccan-Man by Amouage. They're going to look at me and go, oh. They're not going to say, oh, I've heard of that. Stuff like this. Man. Stuff like this is only for us frag heads. It's not a run-of-the-mill. Have you ever been sitting down watching a basketball game and saw an Amouage commercial? You may see it in some magazines or different places, but you don't see Amouage. Man, that's so good. You don't see this everywhere. Yes, you see it at the cologne shops, and you may be able to get it at certain retail shops. I don't know if you can get this at Macy's or places like that. But what I know is it doesn't matter where you sell this. The average person is not going to flock to Amouage Moroccan-Man or most Amouage fragrances. Now, do I like it? Yes. It smells like a day outside in the middle of the winter when it's rained and the leaves are damp and it's just muddy and you got the concrete and the smell of the dirt. And you may be thinking, Trey, why you want to smell like that? It smells good to me. It's unique. It's different. And to me, that's what makes it niche. That's what makes that fragrance niche. Another one. Got to put my eyes on so I can see. And yes, these are all scent birds. A great one from the house of 8 and Bob. And it is Champs de Providence. And it's another one. If I wear this somewhere and somebody says, ooh, you smell good. What you got on? And I say, it's from 8 and Bob. They're going to look at me like, who? 8 and Bob, huh? That sounds like a 90s rap group or something. 8 and Bob. Or a production group, Tim and Bob. But is this a great smelling fragrance? Yes. Now, is Champs as unique and as out there as Amouage Moroccan-Man? No, it's not. It's not at all. It's a lot more mainstream, but still. 8 and Bob, the original, or 8 and Bob Egypt, they're a little bit more abstract smelling. This one is a bright bergamot citrus style fragrance. Does it smell good? Yes. Nonetheless, is it run of the mill as far as the scent profile? High quality, but yet it's not daring, but it's still a high quality juice. But still, you don't, see a lot of advertisement for 8 and Bob. You don't see a lot of anything about 8 and Bob. You don't even see a lot of reviewers talking about 8 and Bob. I love 8 and Bob. I will eventually get to a point where I start to purchase some full bottles of 8 and Bob, but I still have quite a bit of juice in my decants. That's full. So, it'll be a while before I purchase some full bottles of it. I save this stuff for special occasions. I'm gonna have to start wearing it more, but especially with the spring coming up, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. But I'll tell you what reminds me a lot of this 8 and Bob, which is another one that could be considered niche that you might want to get your hands on if you see it, and I paid little to nothing for this bottle, and it's Commodities Bergamot. They smell very, very similar. But 8 and Bob is another example of something that I still consider niche. Let's see what else I picked up to put in this thing. Histoire de Parfum 1828. 1828. How much juice I got? I got about half a bottle of this left. This is all I did with Scentbird, guys, was get niche fragrances. If it was designer, I didn't even look at it. Wouldn't even consider it. Oh yeah. Nice, sweet, clean, leathery, That's just good. That's just good. Very, very well made. All three of these that I've sprayed are extremely well made. High oil concentration, not a lot of burn when you spray them, not a lot of alcohol. That's another thing that makes them very unique, is the quality that they're made with. I have a few Histoire de Parfums in there. And again, 5 or 6 years ago, you heard more about Aiden Bob, you heard more about Amouage, you heard more about Histories. But nowadays, you don't hear much about these companies anymore. They're still out there, they're still good, and they still make really good fragrances. And Aiden Bob is really cutting up. That's a perfect one for this, the type of weather that we're having right now in Alabama. It's warm, it's springy, it's sunny. Oh man, the sun is shining. I love it. And I picked up another one just to give you another example of what I feel is niche. And this is from the house of Malin plus Goats, and it is Bergamot. And it's just like you said it is. I don't have a whole lot of this left. About half of it. And it's just what you think it is. Just what you think it is. It's a bright citrus bergamot style fragrance. Now, is it the reinvention of the wheel as far as scent profile goes? No, it's not. It's made with high quality, and it's really unique. And you don't hear people talking about it anymore. And if I wear that, nobody around me is going to have that fragrance on. Only a few frag heads are going to know, oh, okay. Yeah. Most people are going to be like, And the line is blurred because, another example, let's talk about the two most popular fragrances made in the last recent years. Baccarat Rouge and its flankers, and Creed Aventus and its flankers. Yeah, those fragrances are niche in price and they're niche in company. I'll give Bach 540 a nod because it sort of is the reinvention of the wheel. Now, when Creed Aventus came out, it was the reinvention of the wheel too. So I'll give those fragrances credit in that aspect of it. But if I wear those fragrances and somebody asks me, hey, what you got on? It smells good. And I say, I got on Bach 540. Oh, okay, my cousin got some of that. Oh, okay, my homegirl got some of that. Same thing with Creed. Oh, okay, I got a bottle. Yeah, I got me a bottle of that. But if I say I got on some Malin and Goats, or some Amouage, or some 1824, or some Histories de Parfums, or some Malin, they're gonna be like, oh, okay. And they're just gonna look at you. Where you get that at? But I digress, because I got a lot of fragrances to get to, so I need to get moving. This next one, to me, this is the definition of a clone house. A clone house. And it's a good clone house, and everything that I've gotten from this house smells good. I don't know them to make any original fragrances, and it's Milestone. This is amazing. If I could smell like this all day, which one did I pick up? I put my eyes on Ombre Sun. If I could smell like this all day, smooth, sexy, seductive, slightly oudy, sweet, beautiful. I mean, this is an absolutely beautiful $12 to $15 fragrance. I mean, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. You will smell good. You will smell good for a long time. And for the price, it's well made. Now that to me is a clone house, which brings me to some fragrances that were known for being clone houses. And that's the house of Dapper Fragrance and Sensual Obsession. I don't consider these clone houses anymore. Yes, they clone fragrances, and yes, that's what they're best known for, but they do also make original fragrances. I consider them to be more independent houses. Speaking of independent houses, Authenticity, Happy Land Studios, and Genre, in my opinion, And this is Run After My Car, one of my favorite fragrances. Creed Aventus Elysium mixed. I consider these to be independent houses. This is Florida Keys from Sensual Obsessions. That smells good. And I think this is one of, speaking of originals, I think this is one of Kevin's originals. I don't have any of Dapper's original fragrances, but still nonetheless, I know that they make original fragrances. This is one that I've gotten a lot of compliments on, and it's their version of JP's Paradise Garden, and that's John Paul, not my boy JP. And this is beautiful. This is an absolutely beautiful, stunning, fresh fragrance that you can wear anywhere, anytime, but it's very, very tropical, great for a vacation. As a matter of fact, when I went on vacation, that was all I took with me, was my Sensual Obsession and my Dapper. That is all I took. Why? Because these bottles travel well. They don't take up a lot of space. I actually stick them down off in my shoes. So when I get there, all I gotta do is get my shoes out, the 2 or 3 pairs of shoes that I take, unpack them, and pull my fragrances out and sit them out on my dresser or whatever is in the room, and go. I don't worry about taking a whole lot of fragrances with me on vacation, and I can do that because I know I can take stuff like this with me and smell like a rock star. And I got complimented on the last vacation I went to, which has been in August now, August of last year. So it's been what, 5 months, 7 months, whatever. August is the 8th month, so yeah. Less than, almost 7 months since I've been on vacation, so it's time to go again. But, and I got tons of compliments everywhere I went. Even when I went to the fragrance store, they were like, "You smell nice, what are you wearing?" And I had to tell them. So I don't consider these as clone houses anymore because they do make their own renditions of stuff. Yes, they still clone fragrances, but I give them the independent nod because they're so hands-on with everything. They're so hands-on with everything. It's almost hard not to consider a fragrance that they make niche, because what other category would you put it under? But to me, independent is a step above niche, to me, in my opinion, because niche can be mass produced, you know. And again, which one did I pick up? Fresh Boss by Authenticity. Nice, fresh, clean, masculine barbershop type of fragrance. Happy Land Studios walks that same line as Dapper and Sensual Obsessions. I don't think Happy Land ever made clones. You know, I know E.J. Wells is no longer with us, but his company still lives on. But man, this stuff is potent. This stuff is potent, and this is, to me, the definition of independent. Small time, you know, outside of the fragrance world. You're never going to be, you know, watching a basketball game and see a fragrance commercial for Happy Land Studios. That's what makes it independent to me. And again, the same thing with genres. Run After My Car. This is a beautiful fragrance. This is a beautiful fragrance, and it walks that thin line between niche and independent. Again, to me, independent fragrances are over niche fragrances. Perfect example. This, to me, will be considered a niche fragrance, Nichane's Hasselblad, but it walks that line between niche and designer, and to me, it leans more towards more towards designer than it does niche. Everything about this fragrance to me says designer. It's just as designer as this. Now, to me, Chanel is one of the best designer fragrances that you can buy. I've talked to the guys that make clone fragrances, and they say Chanel stuff is extremely hard to clone because of the process. And you got to think, Chanel ain't got 70 or 80 different fragrances. They only have a handful. They only have, what, 10 men fragrances out? 8 men fragrances? Like, let's see if we can name them. But you got the Allure line. So you got Chanel Allure, Chanel Allure Home Sport, Chanel Allure Home Extreme. And then they got the one that they just released. That's a limited edition. That's 4. And you got what, Platinum and Platinum Eagle East. That's what, 6. And then you got the Blue de Chanel's. What's that, 9? So you got 9, 10 at the most, maybe 11 fragrances from the entire house of Chanel. And I understand that they're designer, but did you hear what I said? 10 or 11 fragrances. You can't, try that with Navitus. Try naming all the Navitus fragrances or all the Zahara fragrances. You can't. But Chanel, you only gonna get a few opportunities because so many of them have been discontinued, like the Edition Blanche, and they have a few more that they've discontinued, but still. Dior don't have a ton of men fragrances. So to me, Dior and Chanel are designer, but they are borderline. Same thing with Tom Ford. They are absolutely borderline with being niche, in my opinion. And then you have fragrances like Nichonet's Hasselblad and something from the house of Mancera. We can use Cedrat Boise for an example, which to me is borderline designer. But by definition, it's niche. But is it? It's a good quality fragrance, check, but so is this. So it's the age-old question, but a perfect example to me of a independent fragrance, along with the Dapper, the Sensual Obsessions, the Authenticity, the Genre, and the Happy Land Studios, is this, Argos. And this is Triumph for Bacchus. Because when I wear this, I can tell you exactly what I'm wearing, but you don't know where to go get it unless you're one of these frag heads. I don't know where to go get it. Like, there's nowhere around me that I can walk in there, see this on the shelf, pick it up and say, give me that bottle of Argos right there. Which Argos is that? Right, and there are very few people that are gonna have places that they can go and buy these fragrances, man. So that's what makes them, in my opinion, independent. And that's what, to me, makes the independent fragrance houses a little bit better than the niche houses. Because niche has become just expensive designer for a lot of different houses. Now, again, Amouage, 8 and Bob, Malin and Goats. What was the other one I put out here? History's Deep Parfums. Those guys are not as mainstream, and I think they still make fragrances a little bit niche. Like, there's another company, I can never pronounce the name of it, I'm not even gonna try, but they make a fragrance called Fat Electrician. They make another one called You Are Not Ordinary People, or You Are Ordinary People, and I love the house. And their bottles are not really that expensive. I'm gonna get me 2 or 3 bottles of their stuff this year. Last year I went heavy on designer. This year I'm not gonna go so heavy on designer. There's still a few designer fragrances that I want to pick up, like the new Jean Paul Gaultier Elixir something. I want to pick that up. The new, I'm gonna get that Most Wanted Forever Elixir. There's a few, but Anyway, all right, guys, that's it, man. That's it. That's all I got for you. That's been the discussion for today. And again, this is just my opinion, the difference between designer, niche, independent, cologne house. Yeah, that's just Trey's opinion, and it's just my opinion. So there's no need for anybody to get mad or get upset or any of that. It's just my opinion. It's just my thoughts, It's just my thoughts. That's just how I feel. It's just an opinion, guys. So, but I love fragrances, and I think as frag heads, we can all agree to disagree, or we can all agree, or you can have your opinion, and it's not going to be wrong. It's an opinion. Man. That Amouage is so different. That's just crazy, man. Almost menthol-y. That's just crazy. That's good stuff, though. But anyway, guys, man, thank you all for being the best part of this channel and for constantly stopping by and chit-chatting with your boy and checking out what I do. I appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it. Now I got to get off of here, edit it, thumbnail it, do all the stuff it takes to get it out and get it up. So I love you all. May God bless you all. And let me know your thoughts in the comments, man. Tell me what some of your favorite independents, niche, designer, clones, all of it. Let me know. So I love you all and may God bless you all. Until next time, guys. Peace.